Hey guys, I'm Amer, professional race car driver and automotive expert, here to give you some information about the all-new Audi A3 for 2017 on behalf of the Valve team. Audi has been around for quite a while now, making cars that are very reliable, very sturdy, and as well as very interesting cars as well. So I mean, we've got cars that they've made that have introduced the Quattro system that we know that won the World Rally Championships back in the day. And they've also made some very interesting cars along the way, like the RS4 in the 2000s, and more recently like the Audi A3 V10 Plus, which are obviously cars that should be reckoned with. When you go out to have a look at, what the Audi has in terms of the A3 to offer for you, as well as what the competition there in terms of as well would have. So now let's look at what happens under the hood, where the magic happens, or the lack of it. No, I'm just kidding. So now that we have the engine and the hood up, this is where the essential magic happens, and this is the TDI engine that Audi uses across its line. The 2-liter diesel is what we have for the A3 here, and that same 2-liter diesel is used also in the A4 as well as the A6 as well. Now the A3 comes in 2 engine variants. One is the TFSI, the 1.4-liter engine, which has been replaced, which is the major change in Audi for the A3, which was earlier the 1.8 liter, has now been downsized to the 1.4, but here we have been given the 2-liter diesel engine, which is a TDI, that churns out 143 horsepower and 320 newton meters of torque. Essentially, that's is that sufficient? Is that not sufficient? That's essentially the question, right? I can tell you that I used to have the A4 before with a similar engine in it, the 2-liter TDI, and I think that generated also about 140 horsepower. Now, that was extremely sluggish. However, what Audi has done with the A3 is that they've got the 6-speed dual clutch transmission in here for the diesel variant, and they've got the 7-speed dual clutch for the petrol variant. Now that makes a huge amount of difference. Now you see, when you don't have the dual clutch, it was extremely sluggish when it was going through the gears, and you could actually feel. Now I was driving and testing this car fairly extensively, and I can tell you I was surprised. When I was told that I have to sort of test this car, I was extremely not appealed by that factor. But when I got behind the wheel, I was surprisingly astonished as to what sort of power and linear delivery of power there was right from the get-go, all the way up to about 160, 170 kilometers per hour. The car just did not sort of let off or give it that sluggish feel. So now coming to the exterior of the car, let's come to the front, because that's where a lot of the changes have been made on behalf of Audi. Most essential is this large grille that we see on the A3, which is a diamond-shaped grille, which gives the A3 a very aggressive and a very large look, because essentially the car is not very big. So I mean, the big grille on the front, the single unit, gives the Audi A3 a very good and a very aggressive look as well. Coming to the A3, Audi essentially has brought its matrix LED system to the A3. Now this matrix LED system is quite revolutionary. It essentially, if somebody's coming in the opposite direction and they're basically in our headlight space, the matrix LED system will actually black out that spot where the opposing car is, or the vehicle is coming, and then shoot the light on the rest of the road, and so that the person coming the opposite direction doesn't get any of the high beam effect from your car. However, if the person doesn't want the matrix LED system, the older bi-xenon lights, as I mentioned before, are still available as well. So the bi-xenons are still there, but I would definitely say if you're getting the A3, then I would say you definitely have to go with the matrix LEDs. Much sharper look and a lot better bang for your buck, and makes your car look a lot more sort of upscale. The Audi A3 sits on 205 55 R16s, which are on Bridgestone Turanzas. Now I can tell you, while I was driving the car, that essentially there was a little uneasy when I was driving over 180 plus. However, the contact patch on the tires was extremely good, especially upon braking and driving up to 140, 150, which is essentially what a lot of people would do in this sort of a car. The car feels very confident, and the tires keep the car well planted to the ground. Coming to the side of the car, essentially The lines and the dimensions have not changed from the old A3. So the side profile of the car is essentially the same car that was there from before. Coming to the side view mirror, one other feature that I really like on this car that you don't get in other cars in this segment is the fact that it has this little feature on the inside of the car, which is this indicator that you can see flashing. Now, a lot of other cars in this segment don't have this, and that's a really cool and a very unique feature that the A3 does come with. So the back, what we have is the again facelift version of the Audi A3, and what I really like at the back on the A3 is that the tail lamps have the LED lights. Of course, we have the TDI version that we've been sent, the 2-liter, and if we open up the trunk over here for the Audi, what we get is over 430 liters of boot space. Now that's a considerably big trunk that we have here. So we are in the Audi A3, having a look at the interiors, and it's pretty well appointed. Audi's done a fairly good job of making sure that they make the A3 look fairly upscale, yet they haven't gone over the top. It has a fairly good 3-spoke steering wheel. The steering wheel does feel a little bit vague when we drive the car. The seats are fairly well gripping. They're not meant for somebody that's too big nor too small. Now, coming to other features, for instance, I like a few things like these aluminum brushed accents that they've given around the air conditioning vents, which make the car look, really nice, as well as the knobs that have the aluminum brush with a diamond finish on them. So the all black interior. The other thing that this car particularly gets is that it gets a 7.7-inch multimedia system. It's definitely out there for something that we can add onto the system as well for the multimedia. And I like the way how it just retracts back. I mean, if you don't need it, it retracts back inside, and that's a very good feature that Audi has given as well. Have the cruise control on the steering wheel. You've got a whole lot of buttons here on the steering wheel, which you've got the sat nav, you've got the telephone, you've got the volume indicators, the windshield wipers, the key as well. Now this doesn't have the push button start. It's the conventional turn key, which is also something that's nice. So when we come to the Audi A3 in the back seat, you should be sure to compare apples with apples and not apples with oranges. Don't expect to sit in the A3 and expect E-Class or S-Class or then the Jaguar XFR sort of legroom. You essentially have to make sure that you're comparing the A3 with other cars in a similar bracket in terms of legroom space and space that we get in the back. Also, what we can do is we can lower the center armrest, which it does have, and it makes you comfortable armrest here as well. It does have 2 cup holders if I pop that, and if you open up the center armrest, as you can see, can have a few bottles of chilled water kept inside there as well. So the final verdict. Behind me we've got this gorgeous blue Audi A3 facelifted for 2017 A3 that we have, and essentially what do we think of it from here, from the Valve team? I can tell you that it has a 2-liter 6-speed dual clutch transmission, also generates 320 Newton meters of torque, 143 horsepower, and is a very capable car on our roads. It's a very versatile car, and a car that's almost an all-rounder that fully encompasses and does all its functions to its best. We have a few competitors like the CLA. Who comes out on top? In my opinion, and in the opinion of the Valve team, we all think that the Audi A3 comes out on top. After having driven the CLA as well, the A3 does perform better and is a better all-round car. So what do we finally think of this car? How do we rate it? So we over here at the Valve team give it a healthy 8. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again. Signing off is Amer from the Valve team. Cheers.